This chapter reveals tips and tricks to help you realistically paint and retouch your images. I'll also show you some really cool hidden keyboard shortcuts. I will then go into some out-of-the-box painting, showing you how you can take advantage of Photoshop's blending features. I'm going to show you how you can create your own brush to help you to create selections, and also how you can kind of rotate your canvas so that you can get into those areas that are a little bit difficult to select with a paintbrush, and also using the quick selection feature. And I'm also going to show you how you can combine selections that were made with various tools. So for instance, I am going to use the paintbrush in the quick mask feature. I am also going to use the pen tool for part of a selection, and then I'm going to use the quick selection tool, and then I'm going to combine all of those together using channels and save selections, which is really not as complicated as you might think it might be. So let me go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to do a decent selection of her hair, and there are lots of different ways that you can select hair. The biggest thing you want to avoid is, of course, helmet head. So what I'm going to do is create a custom brush that actually is using some of her curls in the brush. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to use that to create the edge of the mask around her hair. Before I begin, I'm going to grab the Layers tab and pull it up so that you can see what I'm doing a little better. I'm holding down the spacebar and the Command key and zooming into her head. Maybe that's a little too close, so I'm just going to press Command minus a couple times to move back. I'm going to use the lasso tool and just grab a little chunk of curly hair here. Doesn't have to be exact. I am pressing Command J because I'm on the Mac, or you can press Control J to lift my selection up to its own layer. So let's see what we've got here. I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key and click on the visibility icon, and you can see there's just this little chunk of hair. I'm going to go into Image Adjustment Curves and just lighten this up a little bit. Now keep in mind, I'm not painting with this hair, but this hair will be used as a vehicle to be my paintbrush. So I'm lightening it up a little bit because those transitions and shades of color will show up when I'm brushing with that tool. So I click OK. I'm going to take my marquee selection tool, so I'm pressing M and doing a selection of my hair. I'm going up to Edit, Define Brush Preset, naming this hair, and pressing OK. Now I can get rid of this. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to press Command D or Control T to deselect. Pressing Command minus a couple times to zoom back. Now I only want to select her hair area, so I'm going to do a really quick selection right around her hair and part of her face. I'm pressing Q to go into Quick Mask, and I am holding down my space bar and my Command key again just to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I take my paintbrush tool and I right click to bring up my brush panel, and I click on that new hairbrush that I added. Come out to my image, and I'm just going to click up in the options bar to take away that panel. Let me press X so that I'm painting with black, and you'll notice that when I click, I'm painting with the actual piece of hair, and you'll even see subtle variances in the amount that I'm painting in here where there were darker and lighter areas in that brush. Now I'm going to back up a little bit, Command minus, minus, minus. I'm going to undo that last painting. I'm going to change my opacity down to maybe a 50%. Zoom back a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to start painting, but notice that I can get those subtle little curls in here. Now what's really great about Photoshop CS4 is that this might work, this painting right here, and of course I can change the opacity by typing in another value. So like for instance 1 is 10% opacity, so that I'm creating this nice feathered edge to this hair. 0 goes back to 100% if I want to make it really opaque, and then 10 again. Now back to what I was saying, really great feature for CS4 is that I can come up here and I can click on the Rotate View tool and I can spin this around so that I can go back to my brush and get into those angles a little bit better. Maybe some of the ones that I wasn't able to achieve. In fact, if I come over to the other side, I'm definitely going to have to spin this a little bit, go back to my brush tool, and get in here a little better. Now I'm pressing 5 to go to 50% opacity. And the nice thing is I can build on this. So you could even leave it at 10% if you want really subtle differences. I'm going to leave it at 50 just so that we're not here all day. But here, I need to spin this again. Spin this around a little bit. Okay. Go back to my brush tool. And of course, I can also just press B to go back to my brush tool. And here, I want to spin it again a little bit. Whoop. Just to get back in here, pressing B. And cleaning this up. Now, when I'm saying cleaning up is just get those less than 100% areas that are not included in that hair selection. So, obviously, this is an okay selection of her hair, but I've got all this other stuff that isn't selected, like her chin and everything else. So let's go ahead and work with what we got. I'm going to change this to a 10% just to kind of fluff this up a bit. I'm going back up to my Rotate View tool and pressing on the Reset View button. Pressing Command 0. And pressing Q, which exits me out of Quick Mask.